My first guest is in the studio here, Crusader Jeffrey Bafo Ampafo, Head of Research, Crusaders Against Corruption, Ghana. Thank you very much once again. I'll come to you pretty soon, since technology fails for some time. Let's go over to the phone lines and speak to the Executive Director for the West Africa for Counter Extremism, Mukhtar Mumuni Mukhtar, who has joined us via phone. Hi, can you hear me, sir?
Hello, good morning to you and good morning to your viewers.
Indeed, it's been a while. I hope all is well with you.
Yes, very well. We are grateful for another life.
I see. Did you watch the video yesterday? I mean, the analysis expose. Did you watch it?
Yes, I had the chance to look at the preview, and also accompanying it is the script that has been published online. And, you know, of course, this is chilling, this is worrying for everyone. And we are all concerned about the bigger implications this has on the issues of the fight against corruption and waste and issues relating to good governance. But of course, in many other ways, it does not reveal anything extraordinarily different because for a very long time, these are some of the things that have characterized our conversations around, you know, public office in terms of transparency, in terms of corruption, and in terms of abuse of office. This is not the first time we're seeing allegations of, you know, influence peddling by officials at high places involving the presidency and government officials. And so it's a mix of things. But generally, these are things all of us should be worried about. And we have to be very deliberate about leadership. We have to be very, very deliberate about who gets to lead us and what measures we put in place to ensure that these things do not occur, ensure that we get value for the kind of leadership we put in place. And so generally, these are my comments about what has happened or what, you know, the investigations documentary is about.
When you say who gets to lead us, what are you really talking about? There's no yardstick in measuring integrity. One, first of all, would have to look at probably what you have done, where you have gone to school, arts, and the man in question is a Harvard graduate. That alone exposes you to who you want to deal with, highest of schooling, the highest standard if you can ever get as far as anybody's aspiration is concerned. He comes in with that, certificate. What else must we be looking at? Because again, when you speak about politics in this country, right from what happened from the New Patriotic Party, from polling station executive elections, right to the national elections, then to the NDC, you'd understand that it's inherent in us now. So how do we know who leads us?
Well, it's interesting that you tie this, to issues of qualifications. But qualifications are great. It's important to seek the highest level of education and, qualifications. But it's to min-match if, you are unable to deliver, the mandate upon which, which you are, obligated to deliver. And we've seen it happen in many, many ways at different times. And so it goes beyond just having certificates. You talk about the yardstick for integrity. We are talking about that is anchored on good governance and transparency. We are talking about issues of, the use of power in the interest of the people. We are talking about situations where we have seen people deliberately abuse office. We've seen the fakery and plunder in relation to public office holders. If you're put in a position like this at the highest level, your mandate should be about delivering anchored on good governance. And good governance principles relate to public office holders must lead according to the laws of the land, not according to their own selfish interests or their own wishes, which we haven't seen much. And so I think that we have to, when I say we have to be deliberate about leadership, we have to be very deliberate about the things people go through if they are put, they are positioned to lead. You see in many parts of the world, especially the developed world, you see a lot of programs relating to youth political leadership, youth empowerment, fellowships in terms of research, in terms of professional development, things like that. We don't have these kinds of things here. People just get involved because they feel that they can lead, and there's no any deliberate programs to prepare people for leadership. This we don't have. I think the qualifications we'll talk about. There's significant obsession or too much obsession with qualifications. If you go to Harvard, or if you attend Yale or Columbia, or you attend Oxford, it is deemed as a huge indicator of your capacity to lead and to succeed, which is completely wrong. While that is important, we need to look at other things relating to character, integrity, the issues of right and wrong, and also on whose behalf you are leading. Here, the issue of power becomes very central. Leadership would always fail if the focus of that leadership is on power and not on the people, which we have seen happen too many times in our land, in our country here. If you look at public office holders, it's as though they are doing the people a favor. They are more interested in the exercise of power in their interests and not to secure the interests of the people. Here, when we talk about people, we are talking about what we call the entitlements of citizenship. Every citizen is entitled to a certain degree of service and of the kit, the national kit. We have to have leaders who are interested in securing the entitlements of citizenship of citizens of this country, which we are not seeing. The officer in charge has all the privileges and opportunities as a leader in terms of power, in terms of access, in terms of opportunities and resources. And yet he went beyond that to talk about things and, insinuate and pretend and talk about things that are generally in the interest of himself and public office holders and not in the interest of the public.
Mukhtar,
these are critical things we need to examine.
Right. What if, again, the assertion that this is a reflection of what society is, who we are as a people, is what is represented at the top, for which we will continually have these vicious cycle will be part of this. What do you say make of that?
In some ways, yes. What we see at the top is partly a reflection of us. But when we talk about leadership, when we put people in position or in place to lead us, we assume, while that person is from within us, we assume that the person has a responsibility to reflect what we aspire for. We assume that you have the discipline to do better, and that's why we choose you to lead us. We're not choosing you to repeat same of us. We're choosing you to aspire to get us to where we aspire to be. And so the argument that leadership is a reflection of society, whilst it's partly true, we are not expecting that leader to do same of which we have, of which he comes from. We expect that you have the discipline, the courage to be different and to lead us to our promised, land, to, the aspirations for which we have chosen you for. And so I don't think that is a solid argument to build all the time when we have challenges like this. A leader is supposed to know better, to do better, and lead us to better places.
What would you say if after this he is exonerated and left off the hook? Remember what happened to...
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Would you be surprised that after all of this, again, he's been sacked, but in his Facebook post, which he made after his exit, he said he had tendered in his resignation, and so he would fight it so that he protects his name and he is innocent. I'm asking, would you be surprised that after all, he will be exonerated, just as had happened to, if you like, Mr. Charles Bisu, who was also caught up in similar cases such as this?
Well, if you look at the documentary, and what I have seen so far, it is most likely that he may not be punished in the way that we expect in terms of, a complicity or in terms of influence peddling. If you look at the content of the documentary, I don't see a significant watertight evidence in terms of what we're crying over. I think that what we have seen, in many ways, in addition to the firing or the sacking by the president, in many ways is a distraction from the reality of the issues and the real challenges facing us now. We are not asking for tokenistic actions intended to, assuage and, create an impression that some deterrence is being, meted out. We are asking for the real hard decisions to be made. We are asking for the Minister for Finance to step aside because there's overwhelming conflict. The overwhelming, lack of support within the party and within the country. We are asking that the Minister for Agric has been very inept, has been very dishonest in terms of the way he has led that ministry that has led us to the food crisis and the difficulties that we have. We are asking for the Minister for Health to step aside. We're asking for the President to do the hard things, which he is not doing, and he has shown clearly that he's not interested in these things. We are asking for a reshuffle. We are asking for a demonstration by the President and the executive team to show that they are actually feeling the pinch. They are actually feeling the harsh reality of the economy. We haven't seen that yet. For him to ask the minister or to sack the deputy minister and create all this drama, it is to serve as a distraction from the reality of the issues we are facing. As we speak now, there's no any clear indication where this economy is going. We are talking about an IMF loan. The IMF loan seems to be the only response from the state, which clearly is woefully inadequate. We are talking about an amount that doesn't exceed 4 billion. And this is very, very inadequate. And if you look at the timelines, we're not going to have this coming fully anytime soon before the end of the year. And probably this will be something at first quarter of the year, next year. Between now and then, what do we expect? How are we supposed to carry through? We're talking about a situation where we are being told that we will have an oil price hikes. The fuel prices will go up. Transportation will go up. Food prices will go up. How does this firing of the deputy minister feature in here? So I think clearly this is a distraction from the real issues that we are facing, and we need to do better.
We're grateful for your time as always. Thank you very much indeed. Mukhtar Mumuni Mukhtar is the Executive Director for the West Africa for Counter-Extremism.